The neon vacancy sign flickered against the rain-streaked windshield of my parked car. I wasn't supposed to be here, outside the Starlight Motel at 11:30 p.m. on a Tuesday. But there I was, gripping my steering wheel, watching David stumble out of room 114 with lipstick on his collar and a woman who definitely wasn't my best friend Jessica on his arm. I'm Willow, and until that moment, I thought I knew exactly who I was. The reliable friend, the secret keeper, the one people trust. Now I was about to become something else entirely. The woman giggled, pressing herself against David's side as they walked to his car. Her red dress caught the light, making her look like she was on fire. That's when David's eyes met mine through my windshield, and his face went pale as death. Willow? He dropped his keys, scrambling to pick them up as the woman in red stepped back, confused. Willow, wait! I started my engine, but David was already running toward my car, leaving his date standing bewildered in the parking lot. He slapped his palm against my window. Please, please roll down the window. I can explain everything. Against my better judgment, I lowered it an inch. Explain what, David? How you ended up at a motel with someone who isn't Jessica? It's not. God, please. This isn't what it looks like. His voice cracked. Rain dripped from his hair onto my door. Jessica can't know about this. She'd never understand. You're right. She wouldn't understand why her boyfriend of 3 years is sneaking around with another woman. Willow, listen to me. He gripped the edge of my window. This was a mistake, a one-time thing. I love Jessica. You know how much I love her. The woman in red was getting into a taxi now, throwing confused glances our way. David didn't even notice her leaving. If you love her so much, why are you here? It's complicated. Work has been stressful. Things haven't been great at home. He ran his fingers through his wet hair. Please, I'm begging you. Don't tell her. I'll do anything. My phone buzzed in my cup holder. Jessica's smiling face lit up my screen. Girls' night tomorrow? Miss you. Get your hand off my car, David. My voice was steadier than I felt. Willow, please. Now. He stepped back, desperation etched across his face. I rolled up my window and reversed out of the parking lot, leaving him standing in the rain. My hands were shaking so badly I had to pull over 2 blocks away. Another text came through, this time from David. We need to talk, please. I stared at those words until they blurred, feeling the weight of what I'd witnessed pressing down on my chest. Jessica, who'd spent last weekend showing me wedding venues, just for fun. Jessica, who'd been my best friend since we shared crayons in kindergarten. Jessica, who deserved so much better than this. My phone buzzed again. David, I can explain everything. Meet me tomorrow? I turned off my phone and pressed my forehead against the steering wheel. The rain drummed steadily on the roof, matching the pounding in my chest. In the span of 15 minutes, I'd become the keeper of a secret that could shatter my best friend's world. But as I sat there, something else started to burn inside me. Something that felt less like the burden of knowledge and more like the spark of revenge. I turned my phone back on and replied to Jessica's text. Girls' night sounds perfect. We have so much to catch up on. Then I opened my camera roll and looked at the photo I'd managed to snap of David and his mystery woman. It wasn't great, mostly shadows and rain-blurred figures, but it was enough. I created a new folder and named it Evidence. David had no idea what he'd just started. He thought he was asking me to keep his secret, but what he'd really done was hand me the match that would burn his perfect life to the ground. I just had to figure out how to light it without burning Jessica in the process. My phone buzzed one more time. David again. Please, Willow, I'm desperate here. I smiled for the first time since pulling into that motel parking lot. We'll talk soon. I typed back. I promise. And I meant it. We would talk. But first, I had some planning to do. The smell of Jessica's signature lasagna filled her apartment as I sat at their dining table, watching David's hands shake while he poured the wine. 3 days had passed since the motel incident, and here we were, playing happy families at their weekly Sunday dinner. More wine, Willow? David's voice cracked slightly. I'm good. I smiled sweetly, noting how he couldn't quite meet my eyes. Jessica emerged from the kitchen, oven mitts decorated with little hearts still on her hands. It's ready. David, honey, can you grab the garlic bread? He practically sprinted to the kitchen, eager to escape my gaze. I watched Jessica arrange the lasagna on the table, her face glowing with pride and love. She'd spent 3 hours making it from scratch, just like every Sunday. So, Jessica beamed, settling into her chair. I have news. Remember that promotion I was hoping for? You got it? I forced enthusiasm into my voice. Monday morning, I start as senior account manager. She squeezed David's hand as he returned with the bread. David's taking me out to celebrate tomorrow night. My stomach churned. I wondered if he'd take her to the Starlight Motel. That's amazing, babe. David kissed her cheek, and I had to look away. You deserve it. My brother Nolan chose that moment to arrive, fashionably late as usual. Sorry, traffic was hell. Did I miss the lasagna? Just in time, Jessica laughed, serving him a plate. Halfway through dinner, Nolan caught my eye. He'd always been able to read me better than anyone else, and I knew my facade was slipping. Willow, got a cigarette? He stood up. Need some air. Outside on Jessica's small balcony, Nolan lit 2 cigarettes and handed me one. Spill it. What's wrong? Nothing's wrong. Bullshit. You've barely touched your food, and you keep looking at David like you want to stab him with your fork. I took a long drag, watching the smoke disappear into the night air. I can't tell you. Can't or won't. Inside, I could see David laughing at something Jessica said, his arm around her shoulders. My phone felt heavy in my pocket, where I'd been secretly recording snippets of conversation all evening. Both, I finally answered. Nolan leaned against the railing. You know, I never liked him. There's something off about the way he... The balcony door slid open and David stepped out. Hey, mind if I bum one? Nolan's eyes narrowed, but he handed over a cigarette. David's hands were still shaking as he lit it. Beautiful night, David said, trying too hard to sound casual. Willow, about that thing we need to discuss. What thing? Nolan interrupted. Work stuff, I said quickly. David's company might need some graphic design work. Right. David nodded too enthusiastically. Logo redesign. Funny, Nolan said. I thought you just had your company rebrand last month. David coughed, dropping ash on his shoes. Different department. The sliding door opened again, and Jessica appeared. Are you guys having a secret meeting out here? Just catching up, I said, crushing my cigarette under my heel. Well, come back inside. I made tiramisu. As we filed back in, David grabbed my elbow. Tomorrow. Coffee, please. I pulled away without responding and took my seat at the table. Jessica was already serving dessert, chattering about wedding venues she'd been researching just for inspiration. The Windsor Hotel has this amazing ballroom, she gushed. David, we should go look at it sometime. I pulled out my phone under the table and hit record again, catching David's nervous laugh. Sure, babe, whatever you want. After dessert, as everyone was getting ready to leave, Jessica hugged me tight. Thanks for coming. You've been so quiet tonight. Are you okay? Just tired, I lied, hugging her back. Love you, Jess. Love you too, Wills. In my car, I played back the evening's recordings. David's nervous laughter, his attempts at normal conversation, the way his voice changed when talking about the future with Jessica, all evidence of a guilty man. My phone lit up with a text from Nolan. Whatever's going on, I'm here if you need me. Then another message came through, this one from David. Please meet me tomorrow. I'll explain everything. I'll make it right. I started my car and caught a glimpse of Jessica and David in their living room window. She was cleaning up, and he was watching me drive away, his silhouette dark against the warm light inside. Make it right? I whispered to myself. No, David, I'm going to make it right. I pulled away from the curb, already planning my next move. Sometimes the best revenge isn't served cold. It's served piece by piece, like slices of Sunday lasagna, until there's nothing left but crumbs. I cornered Angelina by the office coffee machine early Monday morning. As David's coworker, she was my best shot at gathering more intel. So, I said, stirring my coffee casually, you worked with David before he started dating Jessica, right? Angelina glanced around the break room. Yeah, why? Just curious. Jessica's like a sister to me, you know? Always looking out for her. Right. Angelina shifted uncomfortably. Look, Willow, I probably shouldn't. Shouldn't what? She lowered her voice. I saw him on Tinder a while back. He said he deleted it when things got serious with Jessica, but she shrugged. Some of the girls in accounting still get messages from him late at night. My hand tightened around my coffee cup. When was the last time? Last week? He was definitely active during the company happy hour. Listen, I like Jessica, but the break room door opened, and she clamped her mouth shut. I turned to see David standing there, his face ashen. Willow, can we talk? Actually, I smiled sweetly. Angelina was just telling me about your dating app adventures. David grabbed my arm and practically dragged me into the empty conference room. What are you doing? Gathering information. I pulled my arm free. What are you doing, David, besides destroying Jessica's life? He ran his hands through his hair. Look, I'll pay you. Whatever you want. Just keep quiet. You think you can buy my silence? $5,000. He pulled out his phone. I can transfer it right now. I laughed, the sound sharp and cold. You really don't get it, do you? 10,000? His voice cracked. Please, Willow, I love her. I pulled out my own phone and hit play on one of my recordings from Sunday dinner. His voice filled the room. Sure, babe. Whatever you want. Then Jessica's happy laugh. Stop, he whispered. Why? Does it hurt to hear how much she trusts you? You don't understand. There's more to this than you know. Oh? I raised an eyebrow. Like what? He slumped against the conference table. Things from the past, things that need to stay quiet. I hit record on my phone, hiding it behind my back. What kind of things, David? Just things before Jessica. If they come out now, he shook his head, it would hurt too many people. More people than you're hurting now? You have no idea. He straightened up suddenly. And if you tell Jessica about the motel, I'll make sure she knows you kept it from her for days. How do you think she'll feel about that betrayal? My blood ran cold. He was right. Every day I stayed quiet made me more complicit. Are you threatening me? I'm stating facts. His confidence was returning. We both have something to lose here. The conference room door opened, and Angelina poked her head in. Willow, your 10 a.m. client is here. Thanks. I gathered my things, making sure to keep recording. We're done here. No. David grabbed my wrist. We're not. Meet me after work. Please, I'll explain everything. I yanked my hand away. Let go of me, or I'll scream. How would you explain that to HR? He backed off, but his eyes were desperate. 7 o'clock, the bar on 5th. Don't make me take drastic measures. I walked out without responding, but my hands were shaking. In the bathroom, I played back the recording, listening to his threat about things from the past and drastic measures. My phone buzzed with a text from Jessica. Lunch today? Have to tell you about David's surprise romantic dinner last night. Another buzz, this time from an unknown number. Looking for dirt on David? I have plenty. Lucian. I stared at the second message. Lucian, Jessica's ex. I'd only met him once at a party years ago, before David came into the picture. What did he know? Before I could respond, David texted, "Don't forget, 7 p.m. I know things about your family too." My stomach dropped. What did he mean about my family? I thought about my Aunt Veronica, who'd stopped coming to family gatherings years ago, about the whispered conversations that stopped when I entered rooms. I opened my evidence folder and added today's recording. Then I texted Lucian back, "Tell me everything." 7 o'clock was coming, and David thought he had the upper hand. But he just made a crucial mistake. He threatened me. And if there's one thing I'd learned from years of graphic design, it's that the best layouts are built layer by layer. Time to add another layer to David's downfall. I spent my lunch break scrolling through David's social media history instead of meeting Jessica. 3 years of posts, comments, and tagged photos spread across my screen like a digital crime scene. "You're obsessed," Angelina said, peering over my shoulder. "Look at this." I pointed to a comment from 2 years ago, buried under a model's bikini photo. "Looking good, baby. Miss our late nights." Posted while he was supposedly exclusive with Jessica. "That's nothing," Angelina said. "Wait until you see." "Until I see what?" She bit her lip. "His sister Lindsay works in my yoga class. Last week, she mentioned something about David's girlfriend troubles from last summer." "Last summer? He was with Jessica last summer." "Exactly." My phone buzzed. "Lucian, meet me at Riverside Coffee in 20 minutes. Bring your laptop." I grabbed my things. "Cover for me?" Angelina nodded. "Be careful, Willow. David's not who people think he is." The coffee shop was quiet when I arrived. Lucian sat in a corner booth, looking exactly as I remembered, tall, dark, and perpetually annoyed. He didn't waste time with pleasantries. "Show me what you've got," he said as I sat down. I opened my laptop. "First, tell me what you know." "David's been playing this game for years." Lucian pulled out his phone. "Remember when Jessica and I broke up? She thought I was jealous when I warned her about him. Look at this." He showed me a series of screenshots, David's dating profiles, active during his relationship with Jessica, messages to other women, photos that made my stomach turn. "Why didn't you show Jessica?" "I tried. David convinced her I photoshopped everything." Lucian's jaw clenched. He's good at making people doubt themselves. "Like his sister?" I asked. "Lindsay?" "Ah, you've heard about that mess." He leaned forward. "Did you know David was engaged before Jessica?" My coffee cup froze halfway to my mouth. "What?" "To a girl in Seattle, while he was starting things with Jessica." Lucian smiled grimly. "Lindsay helped him hide it. Family loyalty and all that." I pulled up David's Instagram, scrolling back 3 years. Sure enough, there were gaps, months where posts were deleted. "How do you know all this?" "The ex-fiancé contacted me last year. Wanted to warn Jessica, but David threatened to expose some stuff about her family." Lucian's eyes met mine. "Sound familiar?" My phone buzzed again. "David. Don't forget, 7 p.m. Think carefully about your next move." "He's threatening me too," I admitted. "Of course he is. It's his pattern." Lucian pulled out a USB drive. "Everything I have is on here, messages, photos, proof of the engagement. But Willow." "What?" "Be careful how you use it. David's got dirt on a lot of people, including your Aunt Veronica." My heart stopped. "What about my aunt?" "Ask her about the summer before David met Jessica. Ask her why she really stopped coming to family events." Before I could respond, my phone lit up with a text from Jessica. "Where were you at lunch? David's taking me ring shopping this weekend. Call me. Shit, I whispered. What is it? I showed him the text. Lucian's face darkened. He's planning something. This is what he does. When he feels cornered, he accelerates things, makes big gestures. Like proposing? To distract from everything else. Lucian stood up. Use the drive. But whatever you do, don't meet him alone tonight. I watched him leave, then plugged the USB into my laptop. Folders upon folders of evidence appeared, not just about David's cheating, but about business deals gone wrong, money moved between accounts, and emails that made my skin crawl. My phone buzzed one more time, an anonymous email. You don't know the half of it. David Robertson isn't even his real name. I stared at the message, then at the USB contents, then at Jessica's excited text about ring shopping. The pieces were falling into place, forming a picture darker than I'd imagined. 7 o'clock was approaching. David thought he was going to silence me with threats and family secrets. Instead, he'd given me exactly what I needed. Proof that this wasn't about one night at a motel. This was about years of lies, manipulation, and lives ruined. I texted Nolan, need backup tonight, bar on 5th, 7 p.m. Then I started copying files from Lucian's USB. David wanted to play hardball? Fine. But he was about to learn that some secrets refused to stay buried, and I was done being quiet. My Aunt Veronica's hands shook as she poured herself another glass of wine. We sat in her kitchen, the afternoon sun casting long shadows across her marble countertops. I always knew this would come back around, she said, voice barely above a whisper. The past has a way of surfacing, doesn't it? What happened that summer, Aunt V? She took a long sip. David, or whatever his real name is, he was involved with some people I knew. Bad investments, empty promises. He cost my ex-husband everything. Why didn't you tell anyone? He had proof that I knew about the scheme. Said he'd make sure I went down with everyone else. She laughed bitterly. That's why I stopped coming to family events. Couldn't bear seeing him play happy couple with Jessica. My phone buzzed. Jessica. Found my dream ring. David's taking me to dinner to celebrate. Will you be my maid of honor? She's going to marry him, I told Veronica. No. She grabbed my hand. You can't let that happen. He'll destroy her like he destroyed everyone else. Another text came through, this one from Nolan. Just talk to Lucian. Holy shit, sis. We need to stop this. I have evidence, I said. Photos, messages, proof of everything he's done. Be careful. Veronica's grip tightened. Men like David, they run in packs. Your cousin Marcus was part of his schemes, too. That's why he moved to Canada so suddenly. The pieces clicked. That's what David meant about knowing things about my family. Exactly. He's got dirt on everyone. She finished her wine. But maybe that's his weakness, too. My phone rang. Jessica calling. I let it go to voicemail. She's planning an anniversary party next week, I said. Everyone will be there. Veronica's eyes lit up. Including David's sister, Lindsay? Yes, why? Lindsay was there that summer, too. She knows everything. Veronica stood up, suddenly energized. If you could get her to talk. She won't. She's loyal to David. Everyone has a breaking point. Veronica pulled out her phone. And I think I know hers. Before she could elaborate, my phone buzzed again. This time, a text from Lindsay herself. We need to talk. About David. About everything. Well, Veronica smiled. Speak of the devil. I showed her the text. Think it's a trap? Only one way to find out. I arranged to meet Lindsay at a public cafe. As I got up to leave, Veronica grabbed my arm. Whatever happens at that anniversary party, she said, make sure Jessica sees who David really is. She deserves that much. In my car, I played back the recording I'd secretly made of our conversation, another piece of evidence for my growing collection. My phone lit up with a message from Jessica. Found my wedding venue, the Grand Windsor Hotel. Come see it with me tomorrow. David says we should start planning early. Then another from David. Whatever Lindsay tells you is a lie. Remember what I know about your family. And finally, one from Lindsay. Cafe in 20. Come alone. It's time everyone knew the truth. I started my car, mind racing. The anniversary party was in 5 days. Jessica was shopping for wedding venues. David was making threats. Lindsay was ready to talk. And I had a USB drive full of secrets that could burn everything to the ground. I texted Jessica back, "Can't wait to see the venue. You deserve the perfect wedding." Then I messaged Nolan, "Get everyone ready. Anniversary party is going to be interesting." As I drove to meet Lindsay, I thought about Jessica's dream wedding at the Windsor Hotel, about David's fake name and real schemes, about my aunts shaking hands and my cousin's sudden move to Canada. My phone buzzed one last time. An unknown number. The truth about David goes deeper than you think. Check the Windsor Hotel's security footage from last Tuesday. L. I smiled. David thought he was the only one who could play this game. He thought his threats could keep everyone quiet forever. But he'd forgotten something crucial. Sometimes the most dangerous person isn't the one with the most secrets. It's the one with nothing left to lose. And watching my best friend plan her wedding to a man who was about to destroy her, that meant I had nothing left to lose at all. Time to see what Lindsay had to say. The anniversary party buzzed with energy at Jessica's favorite restaurant. Fairy lights twinkled overhead. Champagne flowed freely, and in the center of it all, Jessica beamed while David kept glancing nervously at the door. "Time for party games," Jessica announced, pulling out a bowl of folded papers. "Everyone pick a truth or dare." I caught Nolan's eye across the room. He nodded slightly. Everything was set up. "David, you're first." Jessica held out the bowl. His hand trembled as he reached in. I'd spent hours carefully folding each paper so I'd know exactly which one he'd pick. "Truth," he read aloud. "What's the biggest secret you've kept from someone you love?" The room went quiet. David laughed nervously, loosening his tie. "Pass?" "No passes." Jessica playfully swatted his arm. "Come on, everyone has secrets." I... He looked at me, then at Lindsay, who was studying her wine glass intently. "I once forgot Jessica's birthday." "Boring," someone called out. "Give us the real dirt." I stood up, champagne glass in hand. "How about I help? I know a few of David's secrets." "Willow," David warned, but I was already connecting my phone to the restaurant's Bluetooth speaker system. "For example," I continued, "here's David last week at the Starlight Motel." The recording played crystal clear. "Please, Willow, I'll do anything. Jessica can't know about this." Jessica's smile faltered. "What is this?" Or here's David threatening me 3 days ago. Another recording played, his voice filling the suddenly silent room. "I know things about your family, too." "It's not what you think." David stood up, knocking over his chair. "Jessica, baby, I can explain." "Oh, we're just getting started." I nodded to Nolan, who dimmed the lights. A projector hummed to life, displaying screenshots on the restaurant's white wall. Dating profiles, messages to other women, bank statements. That's not me," David stammered. "Really?" Lindsay finally looked up. "Should I tell them about Rachel in Seattle? The engagement you broke off when you met Jessica?" Jessica's face had gone pale. "What engagement?" "The one he ended 3 months after starting to date you," I said softly. "Right, David? Or should I say, Michael?" The room erupted in whispers. David, or Michael, lunged for my phone, but Nolan stepped between us. Don't, Nolan growled. Jessica, David pleaded, these people are trying to hurt us. They're jealous of what we have. What we have? Jessica's voice cracked. What exactly do we have, David? Or Michael? I don't even know your real name. I projected the Windsor Hotel's security footage next. David entering a room with another woman just last week, right after taking Jessica ring shopping. The Windsor Hotel, I announced. Where you wanted to have your wedding, Jess. He's been meeting someone there every Tuesday for months. Stop, David begged. No, Lindsay stood up. I'm done covering for you. Tell them about the money, about what you did to their Aunt Veronica, about all of it. Jessica knocked over her champagne glass, the liquid spreading across the white tablecloth like blood. All this time? Jess, please. David reached for her, but she recoiled. Don't touch me. She turned to me, tears streaming down her face. You knew? How long have you known? A week, I admitted. I needed proof. I needed everyone to see the truth. A week? Jessica laughed hysterically. A whole week you watched me plan my wedding? The room spun with chaos. David tried to run, but Nolan and Lucian blocked the exit. Lindsay started sharing more stories, each one worse than the last. Jessica's mother held her daughter as she sobbed. I pulled out a USB drive and handed it to Jessica. Everything's here, all the proof, all the lies. You deserve to know the truth. She took it with shaking hands. Get out, she whispered to David. Get out before I call the police. The police already know. Lucian spoke up. They're waiting outside. Turns out identity theft and investment fraud are serious crimes. David's face crumpled as two officers entered the restaurant. As they led him away in handcuffs, he looked back at me one last time. You'll regret this, he spat. No, I said calmly. You will. The party dissolved into chaos after that. Jessica disappeared into the bathroom with her mother. Guests huddled in shocked groups, sharing stories and connecting dots. Lindsay sat alone, finally free of her brother's shadow. My phone buzzed with a text from Jessica. How could you wait a week to tell me? I stared at those words, victory turning to ash in my mouth. I'd won. David was exposed, arrested, destroyed. But at what cost? The fairy lights suddenly seemed too bright, the champagne too warm, the victory too hollow. Sometimes revenge tastes different than you expect. The aftermath hit like a tsunami. I found Jessica sitting alone in her apartment 3 days after the party, surrounded by boxes of David's things. Her engagement ring lay on the coffee table, still in its velvet box. I watched the hotel footage again, she said without looking up. 17 times he went there, 17 Tuesdays while I was at yoga class. Jess, don't. She finally met my eyes. You knew for a week. You watched me try on wedding dresses. You let me show you venues. I needed time to gather evidence. Evidence? She laughed bitterly. You turned my life into a crime scene, made me look like a fool in front of everyone we know. I was protecting you. No. Jessica stood up, hands shaking. You were plotting revenge. There's a difference. Her words hit like a slap. What was I supposed to do? Just tell you without proof? You wouldn't have believed me. You should have told me immediately. She grabbed the ring box and hurled it across the room. My best friend since kindergarten, and you turned my anniversary party into a public execution. He deserved it. Maybe he did, but I didn't. Tears streamed down her face. I didn't deserve to be your collateral damage. My phone buzzed, Nolan checking in. I ignored it. The police called. Jessica continued. Apparently David, Michael, whatever his name is, he's done this before. Multiple identities, multiple women, multiple lives. She picked up a framed photo of her and David. 3 years of my life. A lie. I'm sorry. Are you? She turned to me. Because you seemed pretty satisfied watching it all burn down. Before I could respond, there was a knock at the door. Lindsay stood there, looking uncertain. Can I come in? Jessica nodded. Lindsay entered, carrying a large envelope. More evidence? Jessica asked sharply. No, money. Lindsay pulled out bank statements. David stole from all of us. This is your share back. He kept detailed records of everything. I don't want his money. Take it, Lindsay insisted. Use it to start over. That's what I'm doing. My phone buzzed again. This time, a text from an unknown number. David's asking for you. Says he'll tell you everything about your aunt if you visit him in jail. Still digging for secrets? Jessica noticed my expression. Still not done destroying lives? Jess, please, get out. She turned away. Both of you. I need time. Outside Jessica's apartment, Lindsay touched my arm. You did the right thing. Did I? He would have married her, had kids with her, built a whole life on lies. Lindsay sighed. Trust me, the truth hurts less than living a lie. My phone buzzed one more time. Aunt Veronica, police want to talk to you about the investment scheme. Bring a lawyer. The weight of it all suddenly hit me. In exposing David, I'd unleashed a cascade of consequences that touched everyone. My family, Jessica's family, even people I didn't know. She'll forgive you, Lindsay said softly. Would you? If your best friend turned your life into a public spectacle? Lindsay didn't answer. We both knew the truth. I drove to the Starlight Motel where it all began. The vacancy sign still flickered, casting red shadows on my windshield. My phone kept lighting up with messages. Nolan. Police have more questions. Call me. Lucian. There's more to uncover. Want to keep digging? Jessica. I trusted you more than anyone. The last one broke me. I started crying, really crying, for the first time since this all began. Because Jessica was right. I'd been so focused on exposing David that I'd forgotten to protect her heart in the process. My revenge had been perfect, the evidence undeniable, the takedown spectacular. But sitting there, watching that vacancy sign blink on and off, I realized something. Revenge doesn't heal wounds. It just creates new ones. My phone buzzed one final time. Jessica again. I don't know if I can forgive you, but I understand why you did it. It wasn't much, but maybe it was a start. I wiped my eyes and started my car. The motel's neon lights grew dim in my rearview mirror as I drove away, leaving behind the scene of the crime that started it all. Sometimes the price of justice is higher than we expect, and sometimes the hardest person to forgive isn't the one who hurt us, but ourselves for how we chose to hurt them back. The coffee shop was quiet when Jessica walked in. She looked different, stronger somehow, despite the shadows under her eyes. I watched her scan the room, half expecting her to turn around when she saw me. Instead, she sat down. You're drinking tea now, she noted, eyeing my cup. Trying to sleep better. She nodded, then pulled out a familiar USB drive. I watched everything, multiple times. Jess, let me finish. She set the drive between us. What Michael did was unforgivable. But how you handled it? She took a shaky breath. That hurt too. I know. The police interviewed me again yesterday. Apparently, there are 5 other women. 5. She laughed hollowly. And I was going to marry him. My phone buzzed. Lindsay, David took a plea deal. 15 years. Thought you should know. I showed Jessica the message. Good, she said, though it doesn't feel like enough. Nothing would be enough. True. She stirred her coffee. Aunt Veronica called me, told me everything about that summer, about what David did to your family. He hurt a lot of people. including you. Jessica reached across the table, touching my hand. You were protecting me. I understand that now. I just wish that I'd done it differently. Yeah. The morning crowd thinned out, leaving us almost alone in the cafe. Outside, rain started to fall, just like that night at the motel. I miss you, I said quietly. I miss you too. Jessica pulled her hand back. But I'm not ready to just go back. I know. She stood up, gathering her things. I'm moving to Seattle. Fresh start. The accounting firm has an office there. My heart sank. When? Next week. She hesitated. But I'll be back for Christmas. Mom would kill me if I missed it. Seattle's where Rachel lives, I said. David's ex-fiancé. I know. We've been talking, actually. Healing together, I guess. Jessica smiled slightly. She said something interesting, that sometimes the worst things that happen to us lead us to where we need to be. My phone lit up again. Nolan. Family dinner tonight? Mom's making lasagna. Jessica saw the message and something softened in her eyes. Go. Be with family. That's what matters now. She turned to leave, then stopped. Willow? Yeah? Thank you. Not for how you did it, but for saving me from making the biggest mistake of my life. After she left, I sat there watching the rain. My phone kept buzzing. Lucian. David's confession mentions more victims. Want to help find them? Lindsay. Starting therapy tomorrow. Thank you for setting me free. Aunt Veronica. Family meeting Sunday. Time to clear the air about everything. I replied to Nolan first. Save me some lasagna. Then Jessica texted one last time. Seattle has good graphic design firms, by the way. Just saying. I smiled, feeling something shift inside me. The revenge that had consumed me was finally settling into something else. Not quite peace, but understanding. I walked out into the rain, letting it wash over me. At the corner, I passed the newsstand where the local paper's headline read, Local investment scammer pleads guilty, multiple lives affected. My phone buzzed again. Jessica had sent a photo. Her and Rachel, both smiling, holding up coffee cups in a Seattle cafe. The caption read, Survivors, not victims. P.S. My firm needs a new logo. I texted back, I might know someone. Standing there in the rain, I realized something. Revenge doesn't have to be the end of the story. Sometimes it's just the beginning of healing, of rebuilding, of finding your way back to the people who matter. I headed toward my car, already thinking about Seattle's design scene, about family dinners and hard conversations and bridges that needed rebuilding, about how sometimes the truth, even when it explodes in your hands, can eventually lead to something better. The neon signs were starting to come on as evening approached. I drove past the Starlight Motel one last time, but I didn't stop. I didn't need to anymore. Some stories end with revenge, but the best ones end with redemption. And this story, it was just beginning.